Hey everyone, Mr. MC here. This is a lap guide for Nurburgring GP with any Group 3 car under racing medium tires. BOP is turned on, but we can tune a couple of things. So what I'm going to do first, I'm going to show the tune that I'll be using for the Genesis X Group 3. And then after that, I'll go ahead and show the lap guide. So with this tune, there are a couple of things that we can adjust. The anti-roll bars, dampers, the natural frequency, and the differentials. So here is a tune that I came up with. You can also adjust the brake balance, in which I had it at +3 or 3 to the rear. And oh boy, the Genesis X is a pretty difficult car to tune, and part of it has to do with all the torque that it has. So it's kind of hard to try to work around that, where you're trying to make the car more responsive, but at the same time you're trying to make sure that the car doesn't want to send you into the wall when you're exiting a turn. And when it comes to the natural frequency, this is something that I've kind of noticed I've started to do with some of the racing cars, where I soften the springs for both sides. And for this car, the natural frequency is at the minimum value of 3.00. And again, that's to try to get a bit more mechanical grip out of the car, and especially for the back of the car, to not make it too tail happy or fishtaily. Not sure what the right wording is for that, but basically trying not to make it too crazy. As for the differential gear, this one was a bit hard to figure out what exactly I wanted for the car, at least to suit my driving style. I knew for the initial torque, I wanted it at 5, same for braking sensitivity, so there's a bit more flexibility when you're turning the car around or when you're braking and turning at the same time. The acceleration sensitivity was what was throwing me off, and I kept playing around with the value at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I was playing around with those values to try to see what suited me the best. I think 10 was suiting me the best, because if I started to bring it up to 11, 12 or higher, then the car gets a little too violent for my liking, especially getting on the throttle at the X of the turn. So in the end, I ended up going with 10. So with that rambling out of the way, let's go ahead and do the lap guide. So again, brake balance at 3 or +3, 3 clicks to the rear of the car. And whenever you're getting on the throttle with this car, you want to be really nice and careful getting on the throttle, as this car does love to step out a lot. But for turn number 1, you're braking when you reach this dark patch of tarmac that is on the left. So full braking power and bring yourself down to first gear. Turn in before the curb on the left ends and use the dip at the apex to help the car turn in a bit more. Shift up to second gear and carefully get back on the throttle. Bring yourself towards the right, because you're turning in when you're about to reach this path that is on the right, and you're just letting go of the throttle, maybe using just a little bit of your braking power to adjust your turn in, trying to make sure that you hit the apex. Shift up to third gear and carefully get back on the throttle. Then before the green area on the right ends, that is where you start to brake, you will be doing a lot of trail braking. So you're braking and turning in at the same time, going all the way down to first gear, hugging the left side of the track, because once this turn ends, you're immediately going to turn to the right. So pretty much when this curb on the left ends, that is where you start to make your right turn. Shift up to third gear, and again, just be really careful with your throttle input to make sure that the car stays well behaved. You can go just a little wide out of the white lines. You can do that, but just be careful about going too wide, as you'll actually pick up a track penalty that way. But anyways, bring yourself towards the left side of the track. I know we're going in slow motion because I want to show where I'm braking for this next turn, which is just before the grass on the right starts. Full braking power for a short moment, then ease off of the brakes as you're turning in. So doing some trail braking, bring yourself towards the left side of the track, because you're braking almost right away. Braking when the curb on the left is just about to end. You can go down to first gear for more rotation, but make sure you exit on second gear. And as I mentioned before, be nice and careful getting back on the throttle so the car stays well behaved and so that you don't end up facing the wrong way. Now bring yourself towards the left because you're braking when the curb on the left starts. You're going to go full braking power and you go down to first gear for more rotation. So brake hard for a short while, ease off the brakes as you're turning in, so doing some trail braking. Exit on second gear, nice and careful on the throttle. Don't be like me and almost lose it right there. But anyways, for these S's, you can do a little lift off of the throttle to let the car turn in a bit more. Not 100% sure if it can be taken flat out, probably depends on the setup. But anyways, when the gray area on the right ends, that is where you start to brake, and you'll be turning in once you reach the 50-meter board. So go down to second gear for a bit more rotation, back up to third gear as you exit the turn. Bring yourself towards the left immediately because you're gonna brake and turn in before the curb on the right ends. If you have the driving markers assist on, you can use that driving marker as your braking and turning point. That will also be a bit helpful for the final turn. Again, just nice and careful getting back on the throttle. You want to make sure that you get a good exit towards the back straight. Bring yourself towards the right side of the track because you're braking before the 100-meter board. So I think I start to actually brake at around 110, 105-meter mark. So yeah, you're kind of just pushing your luck over here, and go down to first gear for more rotation, up to second gear. Use your running wide curves to your advantage as you're still within track limits, and then finally brake when the dirt patch on the left starts. Again, if you have the driving markers assist on, you can use that driving marker as your braking and turning point. Going down to first gear for more rotation, back up to second gear as you exit the turn. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle to make sure that you don't bend it as you finish your lap. And there we go. So we'll go through this again, but this time I will not stop the video. Okay, so here we go. Also, apologies if I sound weird because I am sick and it's also a little hard to speak right now. So dark patch of tarmac on the left, first braking point going down to first gear. Take advantage of the dip as that will help the car turn in a bit more, but exit on second gear. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle. Pretty much the same case for all the turns. Nice and careful back on the throttle to make sure that the car doesn't step out too much. Down to first gear for turn number 3. Immediately for turn number 4, start to turn in. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle. I cannot emphasize that enough, especially with a car that has a lot of torque like the Genesis X. I think it has the most torque out of the Group 3 car class. Down to first gear for more rotation, back up to second gear. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle. Pretty much same story for this hairpin. Braking when the curb on the left starts. Down to first gear for more rotation, back up to second gear as you exit the hairpin. And again, yeah, almost lose it right there. That did cost me a bit of time. Small lift off of throttle for these high speed S's. Then bring yourself towards the right because you're braking well before the 100-meter board. 50-meter board is your turning point, going down to second gear for more rotation, but back up to third gear as you exit the turn. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle so you don't touch the gravel as that will hurt your momentum. Bring yourself towards the right, braking as close as you can to the 100-meter board. Gonna go down to first gear and take advantage of the right and wide curves as you're still within track limits. Exit on second gear and then brake when the dirt patch on the left starts. Down to first gear, up to second gear as you exit the turn. Nice and careful getting back on the throttle. And that is it for the lap, guys. So getting a 154.4, I think for a lot of us, a 154 is a good time. I know there's 153s. I think there's even a 152. But yeah, you have to be like a pro at Nurburgring GP to get that sort of time, which I'm definitely not. But there we go. So hopefully this tune and this lap guide helps you out. If you like this video, you can press the like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna go to sleep so I can hopefully feel better soon. So I'll see you in the next video.